see. I'm hard as shit, no narcissist, but I think of myself highly. I got two under my brows, but I use my third eye to see. Man, I am so different.
What's poppin' YouTube? It's Sell Money, and this is the story of how I went to hell and became the devil during a mushroom trip. So I start off my day, I wake up, I drink some ginger lemon tea, I go to the gym, I'm in the sauna for an hour, so I'm stretching, I'm loose, I'm feeling good, everything's right. I get home from the gym, I shower, and I take the shrooms. I start off all my trips with meditation. So I'm laying down in meditation as I'm coming up, as the shrooms are kicking in. And as I'm laying down in meditation, I start feeling pain all over my body, in my lower back, in my knees, in my shoulders. I got a headache. All of this physical pain started to arise out of nowhere. So in my head, I'm like, why is my back feel like it's cramping up? What's going on with my knees, my shoulders? I just got out of the sauna. I've been sweating, I've been stretching all morning. So where is this feeling coming from? In response to me feeling that pain, my mind, my thoughts started to get really scrambled. And so I was uncomfortable. I wanted to, like, damn, bro, I shouldn't have took these shrooms this morning. Fuck it, I'm gonna just watch TV or something, wait for it to go away. But something told me, nah, don't run from yourself. Sit and feel this out. So I start placing my attention on the pain. I focus on my lower back. Just by placing my attention on where I felt the pain, my mind repeatedly brought up memories and brought up situations and brought up things that happened to me, brought up emotions that I had suppressed. And just bringing my consciousness, just bringing my attention to where I felt the pain, that was enough to work through it and heal it. I began the trip by being introduced to my energetic body and being forced to deal with the subconscious pain that was inside of my energetic body. My mind, my attention, my consciousness is completely on my inner world. Being this deep in meditation caused me to experience heavy ego dissolution. My consciousness completely separated from my mind and from my body. Outside of this collection of thoughts that's constantly on repeat every day, who am I? And I broke through to the realm of the afterlife. In the place that I went to, I lost complete sense of my body. We are only 5% aware of our minds. The other 95% of our mind is subconscious. What I discovered is that once you lose sense of your body, you actually become the entirety of your mind. So instead of being 5% conscious and 95% subconscious, you become 100% conscious of everything that was within you, or everything that is within you. Living in my subconscious mind was every experience I've ever had, especially all the experiences I suppressed because I didn't want to remember them. Every lie I've ever told, every hurtful thing I've ever said in an argument, every disappointment, every embarrassment, every betrayal, I experienced it all at the same time. Keep in mind, right, space and time are not fundamentally real. Space and time are properties of human consciousness. Our nervous system creates space and time for us to make sense of our reality, but does it actually exist in the way that we think it does? No. Now, we know in life, in every situation, there's always two sides to the story, and I experienced them both. I experienced both sides of every situation that I've ever been in. I come to the realization that life, trees, nature, people, animals, the stars in space, I come to the realization that the entire universe is literally a reflection of me. And the only time I've ever caused pain is when in my mind, psychologically, I decided to separate myself from the environment and I treated the other side as if it wasn't myself. That's the truth behind what it's saying is, you see, right and wrong are human concepts. Right and wrong are imaginary. Sinning is not performing the wrong action. A sin is a choice that you made when you were consumed by an illusory sense of self. A sin is a choice you made when you saw life as not you. This caused me to realize that all the shit in my life that damaged me was a direct consequence of my actions. I created this hurricane of eternal suffering within myself because I lived so much of my life through the ego, not understanding that my sins would come back to haunt me. This is not a fun experience. I wanted to escape this, so I thought about what I could do or where I could go. Bro, there is nothing to do or no fucking where to go. This is my mind. This is my soul, which creates my whole reality that I'm dealing with. I can't run from me, and there was literally no time or space for me to move through. It was just consciousness. In this experience, outside of time and outside of space, where I didn't have a body, I literally felt the physical sensation. I literally felt like I was burning, as if I was submerged in an ocean of fire, as if somebody poured gasoline on me and lit a match. This burning feeling was accompanied by nothing other than mental pain, emotional pain, guilt, fear, sadness, anger. I felt so much shame because I let the ego trick me my whole life. When I came out of my meditation, I was literally beating my fist on my bed, and I cried, and I became furious. That's the weeping and gnashing of teeth. The burning sensation started at my head and then it covered my body completely. And I realized that this pain I was referring to was literally only desire. And in that meditation, I didn't desire anything. I'm chilling. I'm meditating. Like, what the fuck am I wanting? That desire didn't come from that moment. That burning sensation, that desire came from all of the wanting and the lusting that I let my ego do every day. That's what lit that fire in my soul. And I realized that's where the saying, I have a burning desire, comes from. That's why the Buddha said desire is the root of all suffering. And that's exactly why the Bible talks about lust and temptation. Because if you die, aka separate your consciousness from your mind and body while it's still on the frequency of ego and you haven't dissolved the pain body, it's going to hell, because that's all hell is. Hell is a state of mind created by the ego. Next, I wondered, if my ego has caused this much pain to all the people I've met in my life, what about the ego of everybody else on the planet? How much pain have we all caused? The principle of correspondence states that there's always a correspondence between the various planes of existence, the various planes of being in life. It is the comprehension and application of this principle that allows you to solve the paradoxes of nature and reality that would otherwise be unknowable to the human mind. The universe is one body of energy. So if our bodies and minds come from the same place, that must mean at our origin, we're all one. It was that thought combined with the understanding that I am everything and everyone who's ever been in my field of awareness that sent me here to the dimension of collective consciousness. When I got there, I just became this entity watching over and experiencing everyone's life. Now, back to the principle of correspondence. If my individual mind has an ego and a state of higher consciousness, does this higher collective mind also have an ego and a state of higher consciousness? Yes, it does. All of our little individual egos that come together to create one big ego. That's the devil. Satan is the ego within the collective mind responsible for the events happening on earth. We caused the collective consciousness to separate itself from the universe in the above because we're doing that in the below. We gave birth to Satan the moment humans decided we're in the universe instead of being a part of it. The ego can't see reality for what it really is because the ego believes in the physical body. It believes in physical senses, and it believes what the eyes see is real, and that you should be fearful of anything you don't understand. The word enlightenment causes your mind to create some spiritual superhuman accomplishment, and your ego wants to keep it that way. But in all actuality, enlightenment is your natural state of being. It's your natural state of connectedness and oneness to the immeasurable, infinite, indestructible consciousness that is simultaneously you and much greater than you. It's your true nature beyond name and form. And the inability to feel this connectedness is what causes the illusion of separation. You then consciously or unconsciously perceive yourself as an isolated fragment, and then fear arises. And so conflict outside of you and conflict inside of you becomes normal. The Buddha describes enlightenment as no suffering. He only tells you what enlightenment is not. He uses a negative definition on purpose, so that way your mind can't create this imaginary picture of enlightenment and turn it into something for you to believe in, or into some goal that's impossible for you to accomplish. Meditate, allow the ego to dissolve, and see for yourself. The devil is the ego, and what damns you to hell are all of the material objects on earth and the emotions, the character traits that strengthen the ego. So pride, lust, envy, vanity, being vengeful, being careless. The more you transcend your old self, the more you transcend the ego, you bring your higher consciousness and embody that in your human form. That's the only reason that you're here. That's the entire purpose of reincarnation, to shed the ego self and become that ascended master, to break the cycle. Your ego feels separate, but your soul and your spirit experience oneness. Your soul and spirit is your true actual self. Think of the ego as this imaginary entity trying to control your thoughts and control you and control the environment. When you start moving into higher states of consciousness, your ego dissolves. Your ego has no sense of control when you are starting to move towards your truth, move towards spirit. So your ego would rather you feel separate and stay stuck in this illusion, because that's where your ego is in control of everything. You can be depressed, be sad, be angry. Your ego wants to keep you feeling like that because your ego loves the familiarity. Your ego loves to feel separate. Your ego don't want you to be God. But also keep in mind, your ego's not you. If you want want to ascend and you want to master yourself, we need to understand I'm making this video through my ego. So we can't kill the ego and we can't get rid of it completely. What we need to do is mentally stop attaching and identifying with the ego, because it's that attachment and identification that creates suffering. 90 to 95% of human suffering is created by the ego. It's just resistance to the environment, resistance to the present moment, resistance to your thoughts. So in that meditation, I let go of my ego and I was blessed by God's grace. I felt so much remorse for all the pain that I've caused. I wanted to atone for my sins. And it was me simply being aware and am conscious enough to know that I'm not going to make those mistakes again. That burning, that suffering, that eternal, it all went away. And I felt it 1,000 pounds lighter. That's repentance for your sins. To be stuck and to be trapped in your ego does not feel good. To be drowning in these negative, painful emotions, it does not feel good. I got a message directly from spirits. This is exactly why I'm here. I was so passionate and there was so much energy behind it. I realized my entire purpose and my entire reasoning for incarnating. It was because, bro, that mind up there, just like you feel pain, that mind up there is feeling pain. Collectively, we don't like it. The giant collective mind is what feeds us energy. The electromagnetism of the planet is all the chaos, all the violence, the crimes, the disharmony on our planet is a manifestation of the disharmony within the collective mind. And that's a manifestation of the disharmony within the individuals on earth that have no idea they make up a collective. If you're curious and you feel that fire light inside of you and you want to spread the knowledge, it's because you was a star that came down here to tell everybody else, yo, stop fucking it up for us up here. We want to feel at peace. Now, also keep in mind that giant collective mind is not God. Just like we're not God, that giant collective mind is not God. It's one of God's creations. That mind exists inside the universe. And the universe isn't God either. It's God's creation. You got to remember, the Spirit of God pervades his creations. So he's everywhere within it, but the creation itself is not God. But when it comes to Christianity, Hinduism, from a psychedelic state of consciousness, I realize all religion is literally just explaining to a human being the psychology of the universe. Religion is an attempt to fix the broken psychology of human beings. We think we're separate when actually we're the mind of the cosmos. Heaven and hell, pure consciousness, ego, God, the devil, right? It's all the same shit. Metaphors. New Earth is here. We have to wake each other up one person at a time, one day at a time. That's how we raise the vibrational frequency of the collective. That's how we achieve world peace. That's how we beat the devil, and that's how we reach enlightenment.
Acid meditation cause geometrical visions. I'm detaching from ego, I know that I don't exist. Don't fuck with my energy, interrupt it or intervene.